welcome to another episode of the I Learned podcast. This is kind of a year in review. That's very much where my energy is this day, is thinking back over, not even just 2021, but really these last couple years. Life is so different now than it was 2 years ago. And especially this year has been crazy expansive, and it just fills me with this excitement and this knowing of this speeding up of the process, and how this coming year of 2022, it's only an extension of that. And all of this shifting and clarifying and getting clear in who we are and what really matters to us, what's important to us, that now moving into 2022, there is this harvest that's the energetic word that's coming to me, this harvest of all of these seeds that have been planted. Anything that you have sown in faith is about to come to fruition. And I say that for lots of reasons. I am in the process of working through recording lots of different content for the YouTube channel, which is like a whole adventure all by itself. But as it typically is, this podcast entry is more, my brain is full of lots of things. And as I've cultivated this last year, this 2021 year of speaking truth, my yearly mantra that I've mentioned several times, I've cultivated so many pathways and outlets for me to express myself. I'm a daily journaler and have been for a few years now. And this year, I began creating pathways where what I was flowing energetically and what I was capturing in my creations energetically, I was then putting it on outward facing platforms where other people could experience it too. And the vulnerability of what I've walked through this year is a lot of what's on my mind this morning, because long story short, Jupiter in Pisces was the basis of where this all came from. But because Jupiter is moving to Pisces on December 28th, and it'll be there for like 5 months, thereabouts, 5.5 months, and then a little bit more at the end of the year. And we already had a couple months of Jupiter in Pisces. It was in there from like May to July of 2021. So I was like, ooh, that's interesting. So I go and I pull my journal from the dates of this one are May 8th of 2021 to July 25th of 2021. So it covers the beginning, all but the last few days of this Jupiter and Pisces transit that we already experienced. And then here in a couple days, we're set to go through another 5 months. And Jupiter is one of the co-rulers of Pisces along with Neptune. So Pisces and Jupiter, it's a very happy placement. It's a very natural placement. And it is a time for, like I said, a lot of things to come to fruition, things that have been weaving themselves together for a long time, that these are culmination points and fruition points where, like I think I've told, well, yes, I did tell this story before about the pineapples and how they take 2 years to grow, and then you finally get to harvest the pineapple. Like, there are so many things in this world where thankfully, it takes time to create things in the physical world. And so there are cultivation points and there are fruition points. And this Jupiter and Pisces season is so much a fruition point. So as I go back through my journal from those couple months this past summer, it was so interesting to me, the things that were on my mind and the things that were getting me worked up or that were triggering me, because I use my journal for that a lot, to like move that energy and kind of hold it with curiosity and see, what does this have to teach me and what is it that I'm supposed to be understanding from this emotion. So yeah, just going back through like where I was energetically at that time, and getting to, I also journal a lot of highlights. So, like, the best thing that happened yesterday was, and then I'll tell the story for however long it's fun to tell the story, and then I'll start writing something else. So, between the two, you got a lot of gratitude lists, you got a lot of like highlights, you got a lot of like working through the triggering things of the day. And so, it's a very fun look back in time because I remember those feelings so vividly when I read about some of the things that happened. And one of the things that happened was I got this really random comment on one of my posts, and it was very hurtful at the time, was basically the gist of it. And then it was very triggering. It really like launched a lot of rockets for a lot of rockets of desire and for clarity and for, I was writing it, like literally, like, I want to rise above this. I am so sick of being so affected by what other people think, people that I don't even know. Like, why is this affecting me so much? Like, it was really like I worked on it for several days, like, worked on it, quote unquote. Um, I sat with it and I explored it, like maybe it's because of this and maybe it's because of this, and then you get like a new idea popping into your head in the shower, and like, oh, okay, well, that's an interesting way to look at it. So yeah, I just was very much like focused there. And now at this point, like, that was only 6 months ago, and I don't I don't resonate with that like the same way. Like, I've gotten a couple negative comments recently on some of my YouTube content, and it just doesn't land the same because I am legit doing things from an inspired place, from a fun, effortless place. So when somebody says, like, I don't like this, it's like, well, I mean, I did it because it was fun. So really, the whole point of the whole video was that I got the fun out of it. So if you don't like it, like, that's totally fair. And I hope you have a lovely day. Like, that's my response now. And oh my gosh, can I just tell you, like, when I talk about growth and expansion and manifest, like positive manifestations and all of that, like, this is what I'm talking about. I hope that's clear throughout my content, is that I personally don't really try to manifest physical things. I try to manifest emotions. And one of the things this year was that vulnerability around putting myself out there, that I was just like, I was finally working up the courage to do it. And then I'm getting negative comments. And it was just like every shadow that I still held around the reason I'm doing it is to get that approval from other people. The reason I'm doing it is because I want them to resonate and I need them to resonate. Um, like, in all of those situations, my happiness is dependent on other people's response. And this year, I launched so many rockets of desire of like, I feel like I understand intellectually about our security is internal. Our sense of security is really about our connection with our spirit and like our ability to feel the full resource of divine energy flowing through us. Like, that's security. And so I know that, like, in my mind, and I can say it out loud really easily because I know it so well. And yet in my body and in my emotional reaction and response and experience, basically I didn't know it yet. And this year, doing the act of putting myself out there and pushing record over and over and over and over and over, and getting a negative comment or something, and being like, you know what, even though you don't like my content, I still appreciate that you're a human soul who, one, took time to give my video a view and watch time, and you commented, which means, like, really, as far as like watchers of the video go, like, you've ticked all my boxes and I appreciate you. I don't even care that your response was negative. Like, you already did what you needed to do. Thank you. I have people who love my content who won't make a comment. So you know what? You're miles ahead. So to feel that appreciation for this person, it just was like, and that happened this morning. So that was like what I woke up to this morning, was a negative comment. And my reaction, it's like a new reaction. It's a new sense of, like, sometimes, I say this to myself all the time and my clients, like, sometimes it's time to plant the seeds, sometimes it's time to harvest. Sometimes it's time to plant the seeds, sometimes it's time to harvest. Of course, it's more fun to harvest. It's more fun to pick the apple and bite into it and it's sweet and juicy and it's delicious. It's more fun when people like your shit. It's not near as much fun when they don't. But the fact that they took the time to leave a comment means I planted a seed. I got in there with something that rattled them up. And you know what? Maybe that was the point. Maybe they needed to be rattled. Maybe they didn't need to fall in love at this moment. They needed to be rattled so that they could release something so that they can fall in love eventually. Like when we get rattled as people, like that's our own shit on the inside of us rising to the surface. And if I help pull people's shadows forward, then I'm I see now, like the more secure I get inside of myself, the more comfortable I am with provoking other people's shadow side, because I know that it's not me. I know that I am simply a mirror that might poke at something inside of them. I feel like we as humans are all capable of that. We are all mirrors to everybody else. So we all go around triggering people all day long, probably. Like we all get triggered all day long. So obviously there's people out there doing it. And we're all capable of like saying the right thing at the wrong time for someone else, right? Life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. Maddie told me this recently and I can't get it out of my head. It's like these people who say the right thing at the wrong time, they're jostling something inside of us, something that does not feel good. We are helping to bring attention to that thing for them that does not feel good and making it a bigger deal so that maybe they can get some clarity around it. Maybe they can get some insight, and through that insight, some deeper understanding, and through understanding, release, because life is never a matter of like, oh, I don't feel negative emotion anymore. Like I still feel negative emotion all the time, but the difference is now I understand. Now I understand what negative emotion is, that it is that launching of the rocket of desire. It is the expansion of the universe itself. And that from Abraham, like as soon as I ask, it is given. So from the second that we catch ourselves in negative emotion, we have the option of, do you want to stay in the negative emotion and you can milk it for all it's worth and all the time your creation is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Or from even just like a couple seconds of negative emotion, you can flip into the expansion of clarity that you've just created. So it's always our choice on when you feel anything, is this how you want to feel? Or would you rather feel different? And if you would rather feel different, then refocus your mind. And this isn't something that happens overnight. This is a daily practice that probably, like if we're being honest, is something that I'm going to practice for the rest of my life. Like it's a process of getting to know myself. It's a process of unbecoming everything that I've picked up as patterns of thought and behavior from other people that, maybe it served me for a time and it got me to here where I am now. But then I bump into things from right here and I realize that, yeah, that mentality, it doesn't really fit with who I've become now. And I don't really want to think that way anymore, because when I do, it makes me feel bad. And where I am now, I would rather look at it like this. I'd rather see that negative commenter and be like, dude, thanks for the watch time. Thanks for the comment. That really boosts me in the algorithm. I appreciate you. See you on the flip side. Like easy peasy, no big deal. Like, I don't care that you didn't like it. I really don't. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I enjoyed making that video so much that it couldn't possibly matter less to me what anybody thinks of it, good or bad. Here's this. It was really fun and helpful for me personally. And if you get anything out of it, then that's just aces in my book, like sharing. And if somebody resonates with it, great. And if they don't, that's okay. That's totally okay. It really is, because the fact that they don't resonate today doesn't mean that they're not ever going to. The fact that they rendezvoused with me at all to even watch my content means they're somewhat in the vicinity. They're somewhat ready for something that they're not quite letting in. And so they bump into me and I provoke them a little bit and they say something harsh. They don't mean that. They mean, I'm having a flustered moment right now. They mean, I disagree with you. I see something in this mirror that I don't like and I have to point it out to you. And it's like, yeah, but I'm just a mirror for you. Like you're seeing something inside of yourself that you're having an issue with, and you're using me to help you process it. And I'm okay with all of this. I am here to be of service. I feel this deepening. Like, it started as vulnerable, it started as really scary. And as I've done it, as I've repeatedly exposed myself to it, I'm feeling today and these last couple days this deepening of surrender to the universe itself, the universe at large, the interconnectedness of all that is. And sometimes it's beneficial for the higher good of all that is for somebody to get mad. Because when they get mad, they're finally sick of it and they stop putting up with whatever it is that isn't serving them. And now they're free to expand into the next thing that will serve them. So if I make somebody mad, I can still trust and I can still be totally connected to source, knowing that however people feel about me is their own business. And sometimes it's going to serve them best for them to not like my content, for them to be riled up by what I have to say. And that is just the nature of this work that I've been put on this earth to do. Like, some people will rally around me and they will love every word out of my mouth and they will resonate hardcore. And other people, they are being poked and pushed and prodded by the universe to, slowly unentrench themselves from where they are. But I'm just an example of something outside of what they believe. I'm just an example, like, I'm just different from them enough to provoke their own insecurity in their differentness. Is that a word? Differentness, uniqueness, something like that. Who knows? It's all part of the process. Like, I think about it too from my own perspective. Like, this is such a good example where this morning I was Googling about Dexter New Blood, the like revival of Dexter. I'm a hardcore Dexter fan. I've mentioned it a couple of times. And I was just like Google very simply. And the very first article that came up was somebody talking about how, oh, what I Googled was how many episodes are there, because they just released episode 8 today / last night. And I was hoping that there was 10. I was like hoping that number 8 wasn't the season finale, because like I wanted it to keep going. And because I'm loving it, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, the first episode was kind of slow, but by the second one, I was in. I was hooked and I'm in for it. Dexter, like, hopefully there's a second season. And like there was this article that was talking about how it is 10 episodes and that's too many because it's taking too long, it's drawn out, it's not good, blah blah blah. And I was like, holy shit, like that is so different from how I feel about it. Like, so wildly different. I love this content. I love it so much. I look forward to it. Like, I watch it like twice in a row when there's a new episode. Like, I'll watch the episode and when it's over, immediately back it up and watch it a second time because it's so good and I just want to soak it up that much. And now here's this person saying like they shouldn't have even made it. It's a waste. It's drawn out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, wow. Wow. That right there. It's like, one person's trash is another person's treasure. Like, that is so how it works. And so again, it's a helpful route back into my own knowing of like, all I have to do is follow my own fun, make the content that's personally satisfying to me, make it the way that's personally satisfying to me, include the energy that I think is personally satisfying and that holds what I want to put out into the world. And then when somebody else like reacts to it, whether they love it or they hate it, it's really none of my business. The more I follow my inspired action, the more I create those projects that are just given to me, the less and less and less and less I care about what the other people think. And I love it when people love it. Don't get me wrong. That's hard not to love. But in past years, like AKA my whole life, it's been a matter of like not getting sucked into the anything negative, because I would just like blow it out of proportion and like hyper focus on negative reactions and comments and feedback at work and like any of that kind of stuff. Like, if it wasn't a perfect review, it really got me out of sorts. And there has been so much radical self-acceptance work to get me to this place where I literally have connected to, I want to feel good. That is my bank account. That is my sense of abundance. That is my resource. That is my asset. That is everything to me. And I want to feel good. I want to connect to the well being that is flowing within me and around me and is the dominant heartbeat of the universe. And I want to just open up and be cooperative with that. It's it's so much simpler than old Carly wanted it to be. Like, I wanted to prove everything to everybody, and when somebody thought I was bad, I wanted to argue with them, and I needed to go through all of that. I did. Everybody needs to go through exactly what they're going through. That's probably an unpopular opinion that would, whatever. But I believe it. I genuinely believe it. Like, if we haven't experienced that, is what our soul ordered on the limitless short order cook menu that is whatever human experience your soul wants to live. That's what we have. And from those experiences, powerful expansion is possible. And like I said, as soon as we ask, as soon as we launch the rocket of expansion, we get to line up with it or not. You can stay in the discomfort as long as you want, but like learning how to line up with it faster and faster and faster, and recognizing negative emotion for the helpful clarifying agent that it is, um, it's exciting. And it's exciting to think back to, rereading these journal entries from 6 months ago, but especially like a year ago when I very first started with 2021, the year of speaking truth. I mean, I was so different back then. I was so very different, and that's like just a whole nother story of like how to get into that. But I have changed so much in 12 months, and I am so excited to see like what is it that's coming next? Like, what is coming with all of these skills that I've practiced, all of this willingness that I've adapted to, all of this inner peace that I've adapted to? Like, what is coming next? What could it be? And I could not be more thrilled to continue to live this day by day adventure of waking up and pointing myself in a positive direction, building up some positive momentum, and then living out my day, and then waking up and doing it again. And I'm at like 5.5 years of that. And it just like, it's not even that it just gets better and better and better, it's that it gets better faster. So, like, the amount of progress I made in the first year is like pennies compared to like the millions of dollars that I made in this past year. And I am not talking about money, paper money, monopoly money. I'm talking about like spiritual expansion, like confidence and self-esteem and inner security, and knowing that you are an extension of source energy and that you have inherent value in this world. You have an individual point of view that is absolutely necessary and is here to cause ripple effects. And like, the more you lean into that, the more you're living out your purpose, whether other people like it or not. And that maybe sometimes your purpose is to piss people off a little bit. Maybe they need that. Oh my goodness. Like, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. And it took me, my whole life to get here. But at the same time, like, holy shit, now I'm here. And it's the end of a year and the beginning of a whole nother year. Like, it's a whole nother opportunity to, like, all of these days are just more and more and more opportunities to get a little bit better and a little bit more secure and a little bit more sure of my own worthiness, my own inherent value, even though I'm not perfect, to like loosen up on myself a little bit more every single day. And the flow of things that is coming from that is just a true pleasure to watch. Like, my main takeaway from rereading my journal entries from this morning was how quickly we get used to something, how quickly something becomes normal. Because, like I said, when I read back to where I was 6 months ago, I don't even really resonate with that. I remember it vividly, especially when I got into some of my more emotional passages. like I can transport back to that exact feeling, and I'm like, holy shit, yeah, I don't ever feel like that anymore. Like I feel better now than I did 6 months ago. I feel way better than I did a year ago. And 5.5 years ago, I was a mess, like crying on the floor in a ball over things that just, like, now looking back, like, clearly don't matter, but that's what I needed. That upset, that anger, that not getting what I thought I wanted was exactly what I needed to wake me up to where true abundance really comes from. And I'll just leave it here. Like, obviously, I mean, I could go on forever and ever, but I will leave it here and point you towards my newest video on YouTube, which is 2022, the year of inner abundance. This is my video kind of rolling out my new mantra for this year. This past year, 2021, the year of speaking truth, has been my most successful mantra I've ever worked with. The change and expansion that I have created using this mantra is truly phenomenal. I do have videos on that. I should see if I could track those down, exactly which ones they are. But anyways, yeah, so this video is 2022, the year of inner abundance. And so I go through basically like how I work with a yearly mantra. Like, there's probably tons of different ways out there that people use them. So I do share my way, my method, and then I also go into what is inner abundance and how am I approaching this and what do I hope to get out of it. And yeah, so that I am super excited about. I have started using it already to get myself pumped up for this new year and this new opportunity to continue to show up in my life as a more and more pure version of who I was born to be. And the more I live, the more that's really all I want. So I cannot thank you enough for listening, for coming to this energetic space and sharing it with me. I so appreciate it. Like I said, like, I do these because it serves my mental health, basically, to get to kind of like think out loud a little bit, connect the dots, and do it in a way that now it's like a little energetic time capsule for anybody who rendezvous with it. Like, here it is. Like, if this helps you, great. If it gets you riled up and now you're mad at me and that's gonna wiggle something loose, that's even better. I'm here for you, I'm here for you and your shadow purposes. So yay for becoming, or really unbecoming, everything that we're not, so that who we really are can shine in full. That's very much where this energy is. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of 2021 and are excited to step into 2022, where I will see you on the next episode. Until then, you take good care, and so will I.